Network, y'all.
It's Nisha's network, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
It's all about connecting, yeah.
connect the
Let's go.
vibe.
It's Nisha's network, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all about connecting, yeah. Let's go.
Connect and feel the vibe. Connections make you feel alive. We do this every day. Let's put your business on display. Network, let's heal and pray. It's our love, we here to stay. Trust in God, He'll lead the way. We on right now, no need to wait. Let's go. It's Nisha's network, yeah, yeah. It's all about connecting, yeah. Let's go.
Well, hey everybody, how are you today? Nisha here with Insightful Moments with Nisha, and we are back. I was so excited last week to share with you guys that for the month of May, for the duration of the month of May, we're going to be talking about mental health and moms in May. We're going to be talking with moms about mental health. One of the fascinating things that I get to do part time, which seems like more full time these days, is not only to be a mental health coach, but also to work the recovery program for our Heart Life Ministries, our outreach ministry, which is called HLM Recovery 180. And it is just, I thought it would be fitting just to share moms and how we handle things. And whether you're a mom, an aunt, a sister, a friend, or an empty nester mom like a Grammy or something like that, everybody has to take the time to make sure you're taking a breath and really taking care of your mental health. And so that's what I found so fascinating to talk about. And I mean fascinating because as I begin to talk to people, I realize that so many people deserve a break today, especially moms. No shade to the dads, okay? No shade to the dads. But I just have to say, moms, we wear many hats. And so you'll want to tune in and share today with my very special guest. But before we do, I just wanted to give you a highlight that for the duration, we've already just have this great lineup, and it's going to be a packed rest of the couple of weeks. The next couple of weeks is going to be packed with some amazing people, and some amazing moms. Not only that, including my own mother, Dr. Maria Crawford. But the reason I brought that out is because I'm just grateful for the opportunity to share real life with real women. And sometimes you need to hear the stories to keep you encouraged and strengthened. So I'm going to bring on my very special guest today, none other than Laura Orlinger. She is a coach from Austin, Texas. And hi, Laura.
Hi, Nisha. How are you?
I'm good. And we have been trying to get together for the last couple of months. I had gotten ill and then my back went out. And then I lost my voice. I had strange things going on, but I am grateful that delayed is not denied. So, welcome to Nisha's Network and Insightful Moments with Nisha. How are you today?
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I'm looking forward to what we're talking about today.
Yes, and I know you said you're from Austin, Texas. Well, you live in Austin, Texas, but tell us where you're from and a little bit of personal things about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So I'm originally from St. Louis, born and raised, and went to live in Boston for a while, then lived in Dallas, and I've been in Austin for almost 15 years now.
Wow, 15 years. So, is it really, really hot down there?
Not yet. We're actually having a nice spring. It's been real rainy but mild, but it's gonna get hot. It's coming. It's only probably 3 days from now. It's gonna be like 100 degrees probably.
Oh, wow, that's exciting. So, I know that you are Coach Laura with Positive Healthy Coaching, and parents and teens is your specialty. And so, before we dive into just really talking about what mental health looks like for moms, I wanted to ask, what was your inspiration behind becoming a coach specifically for parents and teens?
Yeah, well, to me, I see it as this kind of like, a life cycle. We have these different life stages, and It all, I got called to coaching a while ago, when my own nephew took his own life and when he was 20 years old. And so that was what really called me to the teenage audience. And right at that time, my daughter was having her own kind of mental health struggles. And so that's when I thought, okay, this is where I need to be. But during that process, I also realized it's actually the parents that need some coaching as well, or some support or encouragement as well, because sometimes the teenagers, they're just reacting to their environment, and maybe the environment is stressful, or it's anxious, or it's a worrying environment. Whatever your home is kind of like your kids respond to that energy. And so that's kind of how it all happened. And it's awesome.
You know what? That's so amazing. Now, I didn't know the backstory of that. You losing your nephew, so that sounds very familiar to me. And
Mhm.
I know that that's how we met through my sister Deborah. And so, with us talk in the month of May, mental health awareness, celebrating it, but not awareness, but also I feel like it's mental health awareness and wholeness to bring healing and wholeness to
Mhm.
people, and not just to make them aware, because you could be aware of something, but it doesn't lead you to the journey of actually walking through the process. And so I'm excited that you're here today. And I'm excited that, God used you to walk into a space and a place to be able to bring hope to parents and teens who need it. So, with that being said, how are you and what do you do as a mom for your own mental health?
That's a great question. I know, because my life is busy. I have 4 kids and we're at 3 different schools, elementary school, middle school, and high school. And so it's a lot of running around in activities. And so, yeah, I have really made an effort to get back into some things that I used to enjoy a long time ago. I just recently got back into tennis, which I used to do and love and enjoy. And now that's kind of my Friday morning activity. I get to be outside exercising with some friends, and it's just a good time. And then the other thing that I took up several years ago, when I really started to, on my own path of healing, of wellness, and as well, was getting into meditation. And so I do kind of like my quiet time and just allow my brain to, slow down. And a lot of times I set an intention for what I want that meditation to look like. And so, yeah, I do. I also love yoga. I'm kind of like a girl who just wants to try all these different things that and see how what the response is in my body and in my mind and how it helps me. So I'm all into everything.
Well, that's so good. It's thinking about it. Some people think meditation and yoga is the spooky wookie from back in the day, but I really have learned, and I probably was in the best 6 month shape of my life in terms of my mobility when I took yoga for 6 months. I had a yoga coach, and she literally personal training yoga coach, and she walked me through some healing. I was even able to do that backwards bow. I don't know if I could do it right now, but that's probably about 6 or 7 years ago. But just the fact that you take the time to think about what you need for your mind and meditate. And a meditation is grabbing that journal or being still and being quiet or praying or whatever that looks like for you. But everybody's area of meditation is different.
Totally.
You agree with that?
I do. I do. Yeah, everybody feels comfortable in different ways. Some people like the guided meditations. I like to use the apps on my phone and listen to people. Other people just want the, calm music or just silence. Everybody has their own flavor of meditation.
Yes, yes, yes. So we know that, one of your slogans is live a positive, healthy life in every way. What does that look like?
Yeah, to me, that's kind of just wellness in every regard. So when we think about, health and wellness, it's a spectrum. And a lot of times we think of, the sick side or the bad mental health. And there's really a positive side to that too, which is, kind of what we just talked about, striving to achieve wellness. So there's kind of 4 quadrants, which is, the physical, the mental and emotional, the social, and the spiritual quadrants in my mind. And so I really work in all those with my clients and myself and my kids, because you don't, a lot of times people find themselves very imbalanced. They
Mhm.
doing one really really well and they're totally ignoring the other areas. And so when we can get those 4 in balance, then that's kind of like living our best life in a positively healthy way in every way. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I heard another coach say that there's no such thing as balance, work-life balance. But I'm thinking about what you said, the four quadrants, or you can even put them into six. But the bottom line is that do you think you can compartmentalize everything in every quadrant?
No, totally not. They are all very intermingled. Yeah, they're very interconnected.
Do you believe in multitasking?
I thought I did. I thought I did. I learned you cannot multitask, but there are things that, when you are, the perfect example is a mind body practice. So if you're breathing, that's a physical thing, but it's also affecting your mind, your neurotransmitters, your heart rate variability, all these things. It's both, right?
Wow, wow. Okay, so I have another question for you. Do you believe in watching television while you are sleeping? I mean, like letting the television play.
Oh, I'm a no, no. When you're sleeping, you're sleeping. I actually, so part of my training, from several years ago was in functional medicine. And so that's where I learned about all the mind body stuff. And having the TV on, I actually took a sleeping course. And I know I have a friend that's a sleeping coach. That is like bad sleep hygiene. That's a no, no, no sleep and TV. Don't mix.
Okay, so but you know what, Laura, I was thinking about this. For me, because I'm usually wound up at the end of the day,
Mhm.
so I'll turn on fall asleep in 3 minutes, the music or something, the apps, and I'll turn them on YouTube or whatever. And
Okay.
literally, I don't know if it's 3 minutes or 1 second, but I fall asleep. But if I don't have it on, sometimes it takes me so long to like wind down. So, and then I've heard of the black screen too, right? So since you said you talk to a sleep, what do you think about that? The what is it? The black noise or the black screen that kind of just plays fuzzy
Oh,
noise to where
oh, like white noise? Like it's
white
like,
noise, right, 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 right. That's
yeah,
the
that's
black
like
noise.
what we used to do for our babies. I always had the white noise machines because it helps the babies fall asleep because it's like that's the sound they hear kind of in utero. It sounds like a vacuum cleaner apparently to them. It's real like fuzzy and just like this white noise sound. So yeah, for years I couldn't sleep without a white noise machine. I finally have gotten accustomed to other ways. But no, I think though the TV you described is different. I thought you meant like watching a show and falling asleep. If it's
Well, I probably meant that too. I probably meant that too. Well, you know what? I don't even know how I decided to go that way in that direction. But I think what I did was think about how our minds don't rest as moms because we have so
Mhm.
much going on, or as women, right? And we have so much going on that can affect our four quadrants, and our mental health and different things like that.
Mhm.
But you talk about living a positive, healthy life, and I know that people do think immediately mental health, that there's some mental negative instead of the mental positive. And
Mhm.
that is true. It's almost like a stereotype or a stigma if you say, I'm having some mental health, you know, uh, challenges or mental
Mhm.
health struggles.
Mhm.
Immediately people go into, maybe you need psychiatric help or whatever. But tell us about the coaching piece. What does that do for parents? What successes have you seen where you've been able to share with moms or just, parents that, hey, let me lead you to the positive, healthy lifestyle and coach you that way?
Yeah, yeah. Well, a lot of times moms, we get stuck in our patterns. We know as coaches that people are patterns. They just live out of their patterns and what their identity is. So a mom might have it, her identity might be that, she has a certain image of how she thinks the relationship with her teenager should be, or a certain idea of what the teenager should be. And oftentimes the reality and what the image are don't end up matching. And then it creates stress, anxiety, frustration because the teenager is a human and they have their own thoughts and feelings. And so these things can butt against each other. And then we have these kind of explosions or these constant little battles and nagging and fighting and pleading and, why aren't you doing your homework and blah, blah, all that stuff, the nagging that moms do. And so what I help moms do and parents, I actually have some dad clients as well, but it's generally moms. I help moms kind of like take a step back and just take some time to reflect and kind of see what patterns they're living out that are creating the patterns in the teenager
Mm.
and get a little bit of space so to just reflect on themselves and like, oh, maybe I'm the problem. Not in a bad way, but in like in a positive self-reflecting way. Like, oh, maybe I'm triggering my teenager to go to the room and slam their door because they don't want to talk to me because I'm annoying, right? Maybe I'm annoying. And so to kind of like reflect on that and to say, oh, okay, maybe I could have asked my teenager that in a better way. One thing I always say is to like focus more on question asking. So instead of saying, don't you need to do your homework, or do your homework, or it's time for that, hey, what's your plan for doing your homework today? Isn't that so much like more peaceful? Like that's so much easier to kind of like take in as the teenager when you're being asked in a different way and not told, right?
Yeah, those defenses go up depending upon how questions are asked or how statements are made. And I
Mm,
understand that. And especially if a mom, I think, is on the go. I know I was guilty as charged as always being a moving target. Like I was on the go all the time working, but we would have to move on the fly. So they kind of learned that behavior. But then when things fell apart, I couldn't really blame them because I've taught them how to function dysfunctionally.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And
Yeah,
I know parents do that. We teach them how to function dysfunctionally,
yeah.
and so I think that if we could own our own truth about the areas where we've missed it, and then own it to them. I'm sure that teenagers will take the time to, hold that against you sometimes. So,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you said that this is the way you were, or whatever.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about just coaching a teenager in that stage. What age does it start? I know preteens are 12, but what age does it really start where you feel like teenagers will start to get it? Get the moments of saying, I need to do better, or I need to move in a positive direction.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily put a specific age on that because I think as humans, we're born to want to do well. We're born to want to, take pride in ourselves. And so I think that, you could start really young with coaching a kid. Now, that's not my area. That's not my thing. My kids are older now. I'm kind of past that zone. My youngest is a fourth grader, and 10 is when I start to see a lot of these, especially with girls, the insecurity and the stress and the anxiety and the overwhelm and the self-consciousness. Like I feel like starting at 10, they could really benefit from some coaching. That being said, my age is still a little bit older. I like to start at seventh grade. And kind of my sweet spot of clients that I really love to coach is like 15, 16-year-old girls. It is amazing to see the transformations where they'll come to me and they're completely overwhelmed, they're insecure, they're, just kind of almost functioning in a very dysfunctional manner. And then I work with them for a while, and then I start to see them smile more. I start to see them kind of like making light of their situation a little more, getting that space, that distance, not being so reactive. And so I feel like that's a great age because they're so kind of ready for change. I think even 13, 14, they're still a little bit, they're so triggered by everything that they're involved in at school, that their kind of popularity or their identity or how they fit in the social comparison, whatever that is so tightly bound in who they are that they have a hard time getting a little space. I feel like high school is a great age to work with them.
Wow. I was thinking about while you were talking, and that is that influential age of 15 and 16 of feeling like, I really feel like it's like the community begins to give you an identification as opposed to you taking on your own. So I'm wondering, I guess what you're saying is that if you grab a hold of them and get them some coaching, they can come into their own identity as opposed to, you know, gravitating to the identity of what others have said about that. Because I do know that there's major, oh, you there?
I'm here.
Oh, my screen just decided to go to sleep. I was like, oh, you still saw me?
I could see you. Yeah,
Okay, that's great. Oh, it just went to sleep. But I'm learning that there's so many in this age, and I had that at 15 and 16. My hair wasn't the right length, and I didn't have the right clothing that I thought I should have. And then move fast forward to when my teenagers were teenagers, I wanted to make sure they had everything because I didn't want them to be identified,
Mhm.
have somebody else to identify them, right?
Mhm.
But you can get lost in that. And so, how would you encourage parents to, besides getting them coaching, to start the process of actually making sure that the minds of the teenagers are headed in the right direction to avoid as much? Because I don't believe mental illness just immediately just pops up. Some people have it when they're born, but I mean, environmentally, that's what I,
Mhm.
and I might be having a tongue twister right now in my thoughts. It's not in my mind, in my mouth, it's in my thoughts. Uh,
Mhm.
just thinking about, and I guess I'll ask you that question. What do you think about if they're getting coaching that it can shift the mental health of their minds?
Yeah, because we as humans we're kind of programmed towards negative thoughts, those automatic negative thoughts where I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not pretty enough, I'm not enough. Just that in general, I'm not enough. And so teenagers are that prime candidate for what you just said, which is allowing other people's opinions to dictate their opinion of themselves. And they're so looking outward for that approval, they're not even thinking of do they improve. They're not even asking themselves the question of do they approve of themselves. Like it almost hasn't even registered that what they think of themselves is the most important thing. And so what we can do as moms is to first of all set a great example. So here's like my the most perfect moment happened for me as a coach to see how this all happened. I was meeting a client for the first time on Zoom, and the mom sat down and she said, "Oh, I don't look good. Sorry, I didn't have time to do my hair." Da, da, da. And I was thinking, "Oh, okay. Well, is that about what we look like here?" I just kind of try to make a joke or something, but I realized, she was feeling anxious and insecure about her appearance. And that's setting the tone for what her daughter should feel anxious and insecure about her appearance. So as moms, let's not let them see us, you know, um, what's the word, kind of criticizing ourselves. We need to be confident in ourselves, like compliment ourselves. Yeah, hey, I'm looking great today. Or guess what? I just made a new friend and we got along so well. Like model the behavior
Yeah,
that you want your teenager to feel accepted and confident, right? And so it's like we need to be doing that for ourselves, and don't let them catch us, nitpicking our weight or our clothes or our hair or our makeup. How many times have we almost caught myself. I'm pretty good about it because I'm aware of this, but oh, I didn't look at this. I don't look good in this dress. It's like we're doing that just we think, oh, we're bonding because we're friends. Guess what? We're not friends. We're the parents. We're
yeah,
the
yes,
say if you want to criticize yourself, save that for your girlfriends, but
yeah,
don't do it in front of your kids.
yeah. As you even talking about that, I know a lot of parents who struggle with their physical, usually nitpick at their daughters to say,
Mm-hmm.
"Go comb your hair." Or I'm a hairstylist, so I'm like very meticulous about it. Are you going to go outside like that? Or
Mm-hmm.
or I'll say, don't eat too many Twinkies, or don't eat. You need to, and it's always the do, and it's never acknowledging the positive. And I know that was. I'll give you an example. When my girls were younger, I would come in from a long day. I'd be tired. They come to me and they say, "Hey, mom, I got an A on my such and such." "Oh, that's great. How about, did you clean that room today?"
Mm-hmm.
Instead of acknowledging that the A and letting that sit in and resonate for a moment before I dive into, I just walked into a dirty kitchen. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And not allowing the stress from my day to take on the nature of pouring that back into my kid. And I know that I know a lot of people that do the same thing. Thank God I'm done with that series of life. But I am conscious and aware of it now that I see my siblings or my kids, with their children, and just noticing, how they are trying to do things different than what I did, but they don't have teenagers yet. So that's the other thing. But even my siblings, so that's very, very key to really kind of pay attention to, not criticizing yourself,
Mm-hmm.
criticize, and really being attentive to what they need. So
Mm-hmm.
thank you so much for sharing that. Well, anyway, I want you guys to check out Coach Laura Olinger. Coach Laura has her her business, which is positivehealthycoaching.com, positivelyhealthycoaching.com. And I'm sure it's global because it's the way of the world is virtual.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so tell us a little bit about what people can receive when they choose to use your services.
Absolutely. So everything is fairly customizable. So if I have a parent come to me and they tell me what the struggles are, sometimes it's like, well, maybe the parent needs coaching. Sometimes it's like, oh, could you please just work with my child? She's really, I say, absolutely. So we kind of customize it. And there are times, well, I'll just work with the teenager. And then every once in a while, I'll say, hey, teenager, would it be okay if we brought your mom in on the next session? I think this would be something good for us to talk about. And, they usually say, oh, yeah, I think that's a good idea because they like to have me as like, they feel like I'm on their team. Tell my mom she's wrong. They want
Right.
be in. And so I'm like, no, this is not about taking sides. It's about creating a win-win and
Yes.
what's positive for your relationship because this is your family and I'm not in your family. I'm just the coach. So I very much, stay out of it, but I help facilitate those conversations. But yeah, anything from, stress, anxiety, overwhelm, insecurity in the teenagers is what I see. And I actually have, I focus on girls, but I also have several boy clients who I'm working on executive function. Like, did they get their homework done? Is their room clean? All those things that the mom is struggling with trying to get her son to do. And they need an outside third party. So I've been really helpful with a lot of families to do that as well, because they know, I'm not the mom, I'm not the bad guy. I'm just there to help them achieve what they want, which is that win-win in a positive relationship. And then there's times I've just worked with the mom where she felt like, her son was very depressed. She didn't know how to get through to him, different situations like that. So I've kind of, taken all different approaches, but the ultimate goal is to create a great connected relationship between the parents and the kids.
Wow. Girl, where were you when I was raising teenagers? Okay. You probably were a teenager. I don't know.
I was learning in real life. I was learning on the go.
Let me just say that is so amazing because every coach needs a coach, and every teenager. Imagine the help that you would receive by not having to enforce your just always disciplinary skills as a parent, but have a coach to come alongside them and really get into not just cleaning your room, but the intricate details that will help them with those 4 quadrants that go on in their mind.
Yeah.
Thank you for saying that. So you guys, if you are a parent, a grandparent, a godparent, an aunt, a sister, a friend, a dad, a parent, please, by all means, get in touch with Laura. You can find her on all social media platforms, from Instagram to YouTube to Facebook. Okay. Or you can go directly to her website, www.positivelyhealthycoaching.com. You definitely want to connect with Laura. I highly recommend her. I do know some services that she's provided for some family members, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Grateful that God chose you at this time. And there needs to be more parental coaching and not just counseling. People veer off, especially teens, from counseling and therapy. But if they heard the word coaching, get me from point A to B, I think it would be amazing. So thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your gift with the world. And you guys can definitely check her out. Go to her website, check her out on social media. Thanks, Laura.
Thank you, Nisha. I so appreciate it. It was so nice talking to you today.
Nice talking to you too. Well, you guys, we'll be back this evening at 5 p.m. Central with The Wardrobe and a Word with Pastor Kelly Howard. And so remember, it's going to be a month of mental health and moms in the month of May. So we're super excited about it. Until later, we'll see you later, and connect with Laura. You won't be disappointed. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
Connect and vibe, connect and vibe, connect and vibe.